Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm going to be doing my TBR for the Summer Fling 2020. This is a readathon that's taking place through the month of August. It was the brainchild of Sarah from Steeped in Books channel, who I'll link down below, and her announcement for the readathon, because there is a bingo board that you can download. But there is quite a number of different booktubers who are helping to host this. So there's lots of other booktubers hosting this, so you may have seen some of their videos go up recently as well. I've decided I'm going to take part because I've really been enjoying getting stuck into some romance recently. I've got quite a lot on my shelves, and I'd like to branch out into some different areas to see which area of romance is really for me. I kind of think historical might not be. I think I've kind of ruled that out as my favourite. I do sometimes like them, but not all the time. But I'd like to sort of branch out into some of the other areas and see if they're sort of become my favourites really. So I'm going to be carrying on with my RuPaul Drag Race TBR game as well throughout the month. But what I love about that is that I can pick it up and put it down as and when I want to do other things. And it's quite a small TBR for each of those. If you haven't seen my TBR game that I've been doing, I'm really loving it. And I think I've had four episodes of it go up now. But I'll link above the announcement explaining about it in case you want to sort of catch up or you fancy watching it. It's really good fun, especially if you like RuPaul's Drag Race. Anyway, let's talk about the Summer Fling 2020. The bingo board, which I'll put on the screen here, has a number of different prompts. So there's 12 different prompts to try and hit. Now I've got my bingo board down here, I've stuck it into my book, and I've written next to them what I'm going to be reading. So I'm going to tell you the prompts, I'm going to tell you the book that I'm reading to fulfill that prompt, and I'll try and tell you a little bit, or as far as what I know about this prompt and where I sort of found the book. What I really loved about finding the books and choosing the books for this, I did have to buy a few because for some of those things I didn't have any books that fitted the prompt on my shelves. But what I really loved was being able to go back and search in YouTube different people's videos. The romance booktubers are amazing at doing these recommendations based on subgenres of romance. So there's you know, the bad boy romance, and there's the friends to lovers, and there's the historical, or there's the cowboy. And you can pretty much look up any type of subgenre of romance and somebody has made a recommendations video, which was really helpful. So the first one is Down Home Country. Now from what I can gather from watching the videos and seeing the prompts being explained a bit more, this is sort of a cowboy type romance, and that's certainly the way that I've gone. I looked at a few recommendation videos and I've decided to pick up this one. It's called Smooth Talking Cowboy by Maisie Yates. This isn't an author I'd heard of or an author that I'd read anything from, but from listening to the descriptions during someone's recommendations, this one sounded like a plot and a story that I might get on board with. This is a story about a woman who wants to get her ex back, so she enlists this sort of smooth talking laid back cowboy to help her in this sort of pretend dating plot, and they're bound to fall for each other. But I just really like the idea of it, and I like these type of books where they start out sort of for a common goal, something's going on, and then they sort of get to each other and they really end up liking each other. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. The next prompt is a big city romance. Now from when watching the videos, the idea behind this prompt came from the fact that there's always this small town romance. Romance does often is often set in this sort of small town setting, and so the coordinators of the readathon decided they wanted something more big city, so somewhere set somewhere big and bustling. So for that I've gone for Unwritten by Rachel Lacey. This is a book about a pop star who has some videos or pictures, nude photos I think, or something leaked online, and she really sort of goes into hiding. She finds this sort of relationship and solace in this professor who is not in the limelight at all, and when he suddenly realizes who she is and what's happened to her, her sort of defense mechanism kicks in, and he's enjoying spending time with her, but he's already loved and lost his soulmate, and he doesn't believe in sort of you know, more than one person in your lifetime, and so he's sort of willing for a fling, but he's not really up for anything more. And I think this is going to be a case of them both helping each other out in finding something they didn't know they wanted, or finding a second chance. I think this is set in Hollywood, so definitely sort of a big city, and yeah, I just think this sounds right up my street. I love these type of books. The next prompt is an author of colour. Now actually I've got quite a few authors of colour in my TBR because I'm making sure that I include them. I want to make a conscious effort, as I've talked about on my channel, to include more authors of colour in my reading. So although there is a prompt for this, I've also included more in here. But for this particular prompt, I'm going for Mia Sosa. Now this is a little mass market paperback, and I think there's a few in this particular series, and I've got a couple of them. So I wanted to get started with this. This one's called Acting on Impulse. From what I can gather, it's about a woman. She's been sort of, you know, bitten really, and something's happened in her life and she just wants to get away from it. So she goes to this, she goes on this holiday, and there's also someone who's just wrapped up, this actor who's just wrapped up his latest role. He had to change the way he looked for the role. I'm not sure if it meant he had to bulk up or get bigger, or he had to do something for his role, which sort of meant that he can be a little bit less recognisable to people when he's out and about. I think they're going to form some sort of relationship, but when she realises who he is, I think maybe she's going to be not as interested because of everything that's happened to her before, and perhaps not as trusting. So I'm looking forward to trying this one out and seeing if I like it, because then I can pick up the others that I have on my shelf by Mia Sosa. Okay, so the next one's Hot and Spicy. I really like this author, and so I'm hoping I'm going to like this one. It's called Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. This is about, I think it's going to be dual perspective. Our main character has this fascination with her boyfriend's brother. There's something about him, she obviously knows something about him, some dirt on him, or something that she's a little bit fearful of but quite intrigued by, and she's always sort of kept her eye on him. He's been a really big basketball player in their school team, and now he's gone pro, and she's always just, yeah, she's fascinated by him and has a crush, I should think, on him. And then there's him, and he's known her because of his brother, but now he's starting to take notice of her a bit more, and I think something's going to happen between them. Interested to see where it goes and if it is hot and spicy. The next one is Dark and Dangerous, and for that I've gone for Violent Delights by Jessica Hawkins. I think this involves cartels. Our main character I think is in a relationship with someone, but his brother may have killed someone in her family, maybe her mother, or there's something happened there, and I think it's going to be a case of mistaken identity. Perhaps it wasn't him, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out and seeing what I think of this. I'm quite intrigued by these sort of mafia cartel criminal ones. I think they can be quite interesting, so I've heard this one's really good, so I'm looking forward to giving it a try. The next one's Sweet and Clean, and you can almost see from the cover that this is going to be a really lovely YA romance. It's called The Art of French Kissing by Brianna R. Shrum, and this is a cooking based book. It's about a girl, she wants to get into this culinary school. She's entered a cooking competition, or like a culinary competition over the summer, where if you win you get to go, you get a full scholarship, and she's pitted against this boy, and there's going to be a competitive element to it between them, and it just sounds very sweet and wholesome, and it involves cooking. You know, what more could you ask, really? The next prompt is a road trip book. Again, here I've picked an author of colour, and I had this on my shelf and I wanted to get to it, and it fits the prompt perfectly. It's Along for the Ride by Mimi Grace. This is about two people, and they are the girl is helping her sister move across across to her new house, so she's helping her move. I think she's going to be driving the removal van, and then unforeseen someone has to help her, or someone has been asked to help her, and it's someone that she really doesn't like. So I think it's going to kind of be an enemies to lover type plot as well, but this fulfills the prompt for road trip really well. The next one came up on so many recommendation videos, I just had to pick it up. It's for the friends to lovers trope, and this one I've picked up Getaway Girl by Tessa Bailey. From what I can gather, this is about a girl, she hasn't been home for a long time, she's gone back to Charleston to try and stir up some trouble. I'm not sure what's happened, but she turns up at this wedding, and the bride hasn't turned up, so she ends up being this sort of getaway driver for the groom, who just needs to get away from embarrassment, and then I think they just end up sort of spending some time together and becoming friends, and then maybe something more, we shall see, but I'm looking forward to this one. It was recommended highly by so many different people. Okay, for diversity, again I've picked an author of colour, and for this one I'm going to be reading the third book in this series, which is Blitzed by Alexa Martin. I really enjoyed the first book in this series. The second book I thought was okay, but not my favourite, and I'm really hoping this one will knock it out of the park. This one involves another character who's made appearances earlier on in the series, called Bryn, and I think she works She works in a bar. It says she owes a lot to reality television and professional athletes. Yeah, her bar. So she owns this bar. I think there's also going to be someone from the Denver Mustangs football team that's going to sort of have a relationship. I'm not sure if this is sort of a hate to love or what it is, but I think it's definitely going to be a good one. And yeah, I can't wait to get stuck in. The next one is disability representation. Now I've heard this has disability representation in it. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it may be that our main character, I want to say one of our characters is missing a limb, but I'm not sure. So don't quote me on that, and I'll let you know when I do my wrap up what the disability is, but it definitely hit on various people's disability recommendation videos, and that is On the Way to You by Candy Steiner. I love Candy Steiner's books, and I really wanted to pick up this one. It's also got sort of a road trip vibe to it. It's about two people that don't really know each other that well. They go on this road trip. I don't know whether one of them is hitchhiking, the other one picks them up. They share the same space. They sort of start to get to know each other maybe, and then I think she reads his journal, discovers things about him, sort of invades his privacy quite badly, and I'm not sure what goes from there, but I'm interested in seeing a bit more about this one. And as I say, I love Candy Steiner as a writer, so I'm hoping that this one will be another win for me. Okay, there's two more prompts. The next is an old school historical, and for that I've gone for Say Yes to the Marquess by Tessa Dare. I haven't read any of these books. It's not necessarily my favourite look of a book, I'm afraid, but I hear great things about Tessa Dare, so why not give this a go? It's one of the prompts. I'd like to fulfil them all, so this looked like the best chance of me enjoying it. I think this is to do with a relationship or an engagement that's been between two people, and then she doesn't want to follow through with it, and then maybe the brother, who's a bit of a rake, tries to force her to, or get under her skin, and then they form a relationship. I don't know, but it sounds like fun, and everyone loves these ones. The last prompt was category romance. Now from what I could gather for that, it was like a Mills and Boon, that type of one, so a Mills and Boon type book. So I have picked up something from the Mills and Boon Dare series. I think there's two books in here, so whether I read both I don't know, but the first one is called Taming Reed, and the second one is Pure Temptation, and it says, this is what it looks like. It says for Taming Reed, they promise to behave. Influencer Lila Campbell's life is filled with posh parties, luxe travel, and millions of followers. But one night with a mouth-wateringly gorgeous stranger in Miami's South Beach could destroy it all, especially when the man is Reed Rexford, the sexiest, most distrustful man Lila's ever met. So we'll see. I don't think these are going to be very long ones. I think they must be sort of more short, maybe. It looks like 200 pages each, so maybe I'll read the whole book and then that will be sort of an extra, but I'm for sure going to give it a go, and we'll see. Maybe I'll find that I love these so much I have to have them all, I don't know. Anyway, that's it from me, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you what I think of these along the way. Let me know if you're participating, if any of these books you've read and given 5 stars or loved. Yeah, I can't wait to see if any of these genres end up being for me, and I'll let you know how I get on. Bye for now, BookTube.